Here's what we need to know for today. The truth is more than just you are what you eat. Here's the truth that I want to bring up to the surface this week. You are what you eat most of the time. What I want to help us do this weekend is really understand the beauty of what Jesus offers us when it comes to a new way of eating and a new way of living. The world that we live in, y'all, is the fruit that we eat of, and it is counterfeit fruit. It is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The information we receive, the instruction we receive, the environments that we live in, the experiences that we have, they are from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They are a counterfeit fruit that wants to tempt us, where the enemy wants to use this fruit to tempt us towards what seems like a better life, but actually will under-deliver. Jesus is inviting us to eat of him, to be nourished on him alone, so that we can become like him, so that we can actually possess the life that is truly life. Because as we have said, what you eat is what you become. We're gonna talk about how to evaluate your diet and determine, are you actually eating from the tree of life or some counterfeit tree? But first, I want us to see what tree of life fruit is supposed to look like. Tree of life fruit basically is supposed to look like Jesus. It's just supposed to look like Jesus. If we consume him, we will become like him. And if you were to try and describe Jesus, not what Jesus did, not what Jesus taught, but who Jesus is, one of the best places to go is John chapter 1, verse 14. It says, "The word became flesh, made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory and the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father." And here's the description: full of grace and truth. Full of grace and truth. Or you could say it this way: Jesus didn't fit into any preconceived categories. He was both grace and truth. And that was completely countercultural. One of the ways we can understand truth is a life of conviction. Truth is a life of conviction. What conviction basically means is to hold to strongly held beliefs, to hold firmly to strongly held beliefs. When Jesus showed up on the scene, it says that he preached the good news of the kingdom. Repent and believe, for the kingdom is near. When Jesus went about his teachings, it says that there were people in the countryside who would listen to the things he had to say, and they would say, "There's a man who teaches with great authority." Jesus taught with conviction, but he also lived grace. He lived with compassion. If you look at the life of Jesus, what you'll discover is so much of what Jesus did: feeding the 5,000, praying for people to be healed, preaching the gospel to crowds, it was motivated by compassion. He was a man of grace. He was motivated by, his heart was moved for the people around him. He didn't just show up on the scene to preach truth down to people, but he showed up on the scene to offer truth in a grace-filled way so that it could be received. Jesus was a man of grace and truth, or you could say a man of conviction and compassion. Ultimately, y'all, what this way is it is a cross-shaped life. It's a cross-shaped life. The cross is more than just a means to our salvation. It is a pattern for our lives. And to become a person of conviction and compassion is to say, if you were to think of a cross, the vertical part of the cross is an aspect of our lives. And it says, I want to be rooted in the truth of God. I want to know his ways. I want to understand his word. And I want to worship him for who he is to me and who he is to the world. But then we want to be people of compassion, who extend our lives in every direction to the world around us, to the broken and to the proud, to the Democrats and the Republicans, to the rich and the poor, to the oppressed and the oppressor. That we extend our lives in every direction. We don't just pick a tribe and say, I'm gonna be good to this tribe. We actually say we will love in every direction because we are so convicted about who God is and what he came to do in the world. And y'all, let me just tell you, if we can become a church of cross-shaped people, we will see the kingdom like never before.